Alright, so in today's video, my oil cooler gaskets are pretty much shot. It's leaking all bad. They're like a quart every time I drive it. Oh yeah. So we're gonna try to degrease this, because I need to get in there. Yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna try to get a better angle for y'all. Basically, there's a couple bolts for the oil cooler there. Gonna have to take out my block heater, but first we're gonna degrease all this, because yeah, there's like 2 or 3 bolts. Can't remember, I've done a couple of them. There's 2 or 3 bolts back here, then there's 2 up above that greasy ass cross member there up in the front. So we got us a good old-fashioned can of degreaser. We're just gonna hit everything. Okay. See if we can't. Jesus. It's Christmas all over. Alright, so we got that all soaked. I'm going to soak it probably one more time and then come back with the pressure washer and see if I can get all this gunk off. Alright, so this is where we're at. We got all the coolant out. There's some 4 gallons of oil there. The rest of it's still draining out. It's much better after the power washing. Okay, so we got the block heater unplugged. Oil's about drained out, about to pop a hole through this oil filter, drain the oil filter, and then pull it off. Then we'll start pulling off the oil cooler. Oh, it's much cleaner in there. Yeah, so it's gonna be that bolt there, and then those 2 on that side, and then there's 2 in the front that are kind of a pain to get through. Some people don't take off the front, they'll just pop it out with a pry bar, put new gaskets, but I'm gonna pull it all the way out. That way I can clean the block up, clean everything up. I don't want no leaks afterwards. Alright, so let's get this oil filter off and then get to removing some bolts. Go ahead and put this plug back in for now. Let that drain for a minute. It should be almost loose enough to come off. All right, so life happened, and it's dark now, so we got the light out. Long-winded, dude. All right, there's one. All right, that's 2 loose. Should be one more, yep. This one here is like a 12 mil. Or is it 11? It's kind of weird size. Yeah, it's an 11, I think. All right, so we got all 3 bolts out of the back. Now we're moving up to the front. We're gonna go ahead and take this water neck off. That way we can get in here a little easier. That's one truck. All right. Sweet. And so now you can see we got one bolt there, kind of uncovered, and then there's one up above that. Gotta get those 2 broken loose, and then that old cooler will slide out. Jesus. Yeah. I would say this front part is where it was leaking. I broke this one loose already here. God dang, that's tight. Alright, so got the oil cooler off. Not too bad. I need to get this gasket off of here. And then in the morning, we're gonna clean up the block. All my fingers in the way. In the morning, we're gonna clean up the block. And then clean up the oil cooler. Clean it out, re-gasket it. And put it back in. So this is the crusty culprit. All right, so we got the oil cooler all disassembled, cleaned up. Use a little degreaser, a little pressure washer action, a little brake cleaner. So we got the oil cooler here. Put your big O-ring on first. Ooh. Big O-ring on the inside. Make sure you put grease on them, so when you're slipping it back together, it'll actually go back together. Alright. Flip it over. And this is non-directional, doesn't matter which way you put it. It just has little tabs that line up with the little locks on the end pieces. Alright, so we got it cleaned up back in the truck, got the gasket on. I'm going to tighten down this front part real quick, and then we'll move on to the back. Then once I get it all back together, I'll come through here with the pressure washer again and get the rest of that gunk off of it. That way we'll be able to see if there's any leaks later. All right, so now we're on the back part. What I did was I put a little grease on the gasket, stuck it to the block. I got one bolt started here. I'm gonna try to start this lower corner here. And I pre-pressed this together with a wood clamp before I put it in the truck. Some people will put the front part in and then push the tube into this part, and then they'll press it in with a pry bar, like pushing in between the exhaust manifold and here. But I like to just press them together before I put it in there. It's a personal preference thing, really. So we got these two. And these are gonna be 18 foot-pounds, so I'm just gonna hand start them and then go get the torque wrench and torque them down. All right, so I'll catch you in a minute. Get these all. Actually, I could put this, I'll leave you hanging there. Oh yeah, easy money. All right, we'll catch y'all when we got this tightened down. All right, so a couple trips to O'Reilly's to get a couple things for another project, and well, it's dark again. So we're gonna torque these down to 14 foot-pounds or 168 inch-pounds if you have to do metric. Get on there, see if I can. Put just the socket on there. Okay. That's it. It's pretty close with hand. All right, so we'll tighten that top one, and then we're gonna move to the back ones, put the oil filter on, put the water neck on, put the lower radiator hose back on, and start filling it up. All right, so now we're at the back. We're gonna torque down these. just like the front, 14 foot-pounds. They're actually already right on. All right, and then over here, got my oil filter. It's already got oil in it, and the gasket is got oil in it. Another personal preference thing. Some people don't fill them up. Some people also don't clean off this before they put the oil filter on. So we're gonna screw this on now. Brand new Motorcraft. The next step will be we'll hook up the block heater, fill it full of oil and coolant, and then we'll start it up and check for leaks. All right, so we got the block heater back on. Again, this is not a step-by-step tutorial. This is just me doing it. Block heater's back on. This thing just, you know, spins on. You tighten it with a pair of pliers. Fairly self-explanatory. And then we got new oil plug in with gasket, and now we're gonna fill it up. So let's get up to the top side and see what's happening. All right, so there's one last thing we gotta do. We gotta put this water neck on, bottom one in. I can't wait to pressure wash all this out from underneath my truck. All right, so we're gonna tighten those down and put the radiator hose on. All right, so we got the water neck installed, tightened down. We got the new Gates radiator hose on. We're about to tighten it down. Make sure it's straight. Okay. All right. All right. Ain't going nowhere. Let's fill it up. All right, so now for the fun part, to add all of this. Thousands of dollars. All right. It's 3 gallons of full strength. I put 3 gallons of distilled water down there. All right. All right, so moment of truth. Y'all watch for leaks and I'm gonna go crank it, all right? Okay, so I've been trying to shoot an outro for like 3 days on this, but it's been pouring rain. But no leaks, oil pressure's right. So yeah, I'm hyped. We're gonna go to Dunkin' and get some coffee now.
All right, so the moment you've all been waiting for. Dunkin'. Dunkin' is better than Starbucks. Just saying, if they want to sponsor me. But yeah, so overall, no leaks. Probably put, what, maybe 400 miles on the truck now. And yeah, running a lot better. Obviously, my injectors weren't firing right before because it was leaking a quart a day type thing. Every time I drove it, it would leak a quart. And so yeah, I mean, it's running 10 times better. So yeah, y'all have a good night. We're gonna enjoy our Dunkin' and get back to the house. Peace.